two people, beautiful humans, come stand next to me so we can hold these letters. Don't be shy. We need about 10-15 people, whatever color, race, gender, whoever you are, come be with us in solidarity. I know there are these lenses, but who cares? You're surveilled 24/7 anyway. You're in the highest surveilled country in the world. Thank you, boss.
United is the way.
Man United. Okay, how does it look?
United.
What is it? It's so small.
And the genocide that's happening currently right now in Palestine, Sudan, Congo. What is happening there is intended for Kashmir. The arms sold by the UK are specifically saying they are tested. Where are they tested? They are tested in Gaza, sold to India. So I want you, with the benefit of being in one of the most diverse places in the world and being with incredible comrades who can not only speak English, but can also speak other languages. So whoever is and can roll your tongues and say certain sounds, please join us in these slogans, because part of our learning and unlearning is connecting to each other's heritage and cultures. So we're all too familiar with 1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Occupation no more.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
5, 6, 7, 8.
Israel is a terrorist state.
Alright, so you know that one. So now Israel has a friend in the name of Indian government, Modi. Modi is telling us what our humanity will look like. But we're saying, no thanks. So bear with me. I'm going to read this out, and whoever can join in, even if it's your broken Hindi, do it. Jang ke khilaf awaaz uthao. And that means, for those who don't understand, Jang ke khilaf, which means, well, let me tell you the whole thing. Jang ke khilaf awaaz uthao means raise your voice against war.
Of course, just very recently this afternoon, we've had this very, very welcome news that there has been a ceasefire. And for all of us, that's a huge relief, and that's something which we wanted to come here and celebrate together, hand in hand. We've got families in India and Kashmir and Pakistan. We've got friends, we've got people who we've been very, very worried about in recent days. So there's definitely something to celebrate. But we also are coming together to demand a real, meaningful peace. A ceasefire can only be a first step, and we also have to ask why our governments didn't listen to the people who never wanted a war, to the poor who are the first to suffer when bombings happen, to the people living in the border areas, and of course to the people of Kashmir. Instead, why did they have to wait for mediation from Donald Trump to be able to simply say that it's time for a ceasefire? And the other thing is, this is just the first step. The next step is de-escalation, which people have been demanding across the region. The next step is that all of the things that were announced must be reversed. The Indus Water Treaty must be reinstated, because that has very, very serious implications for people's lives and livelihoods. And other moves, belligerent moves which were made, suspending the civil agreement and so on, all that must be reversed. And also, it's very, very important that all the moves which were made against the people at the time of the war and under a pretext of warmongering must become the new normal. Because we saw how the outlets which we rely on for true unbiased news, things like The Wire, like Maktub Media, the Kashmiriyat, and so on, journalists like Anuradha Bhasin, were all being targeted in the name of war in a horrific wave, really, of censorship and silencing. And at the same time, we saw a shameful barrage of lies being fed to the people from the mainstream media channels as well as social media. So we need an investigation into why this was allowed to happen. And of course we know why. We know that it's Modi and the BJP and the Hindu supremacists who feed this hatred. So we need all of that to be fought back against. It cannot become the new normal under the pretext of the war.
Does that make sense?
People are facing internet shutdowns. People are facing the violence, including the sexual violence of the security forces. So now is this historic time when Kashmir must have self-determination. And we will stand by the people of Kashmir until that's achieved. And it can no longer continue to be a pretext for wars between states. Now, alongside the shutting down of courageous media voices, we've seen all kinds of military new regulations being brought in. Those also must be reversed. Like in Pakistan, we've seen the Supreme Court ruling that citizens can be tried in military courts. That has to go. That's what our comrades in Pakistan are telling us. So we have to be alert. We can't just step back now that the ceasefire has been announced. We have to keep fighting. And finally, what I want to say is we know that fascism, depends on forces in the diaspora. And we must stand together and resist the kind of division which is being spread, particularly by the Hindutva, the Hindu supremacist forces in Britain. We saw how in 2022 they actually managed to create violence on the streets of Leicester. And then we saw last year when all of us were coming together with other racialized communities to fight back against the fascists, the Hindu supremacists were actually aligning with those fascists which were attacking our communities. They were actually inviting Tommy Robinson, their fellow Islamophobe, to India to speak on Hindutva outlets. So this is the kind of thing which we're up against, and we have to keep fighting and resisting the spread of these organizations which only seek to spread hate in our communities. This is an amazing display of our unity, but we need many, many more, and we will need it in the coming days. We cannot turn our face away from what's happening in South Asia and what is happening in our diaspora communities. We saw those people coming out. We saw the video clips of how vicious they were at the time when the war was starting and after Pahalgam. Now the other thing, of course, is that there's been a wave of hate in India, and even as the news has been dominated by the war, we've had mob lynchings in UP, we've had murders just for being Muslim. So all of that is continuing. We still have a fascist regime in power in India. So this is something that our organization has steadfastly worked on and resisted. We're going to continue to do that. Please follow us on social media. Please just get in touch with us, talk to us here. if you want to get involved. And we're going to be hearing from a few other people and other organizations. As I said, this is a coalition that's come together today. And thank you for being here. In